If you work in an office in Britain, you are probably lonelier than you think. And it's not because your colleagues are unfriendly. It's because we made genuine connection at work nearly impossible. My name is Khaled, and in this video we will explore together why British workplaces kill connection. Think about your typical British workplace. Professional, reserved, quiet. People sit at the desks with headphones on. They communicate via email instead of actually talking. And there is a reason for that. Open plan offices were supposed to encourage collaborations and conversation. In theory, fewer walls mean more spontaneous interaction, more connection, right? In reality, research shows the opposite. Open plan offices actually reduces face-to-face interaction by around 70%. People feel constantly watched, so they retreat in their own spaces. They put on their headphones and they send emails instead of actually talking. They avoid casual moments that used to build workplaces connection, workplaces relationships. So you are sitting with a room with dozens of people, but you actually are very isolated. But here is the thing, it's not the actual physical place only that kills connection, it's the British office culture itself. British workplaces are famously emotionally reserved. Friendly, yes. Professionally, absolutely. Emotionally open, rarely. There is a concept in British business culture called friendly distance. Imagine the contradiction in the phrase itself, in the statement. Friendly means closeness, but it's friendly distance. So it's a distance that is friendly somehow. You don't get to get friendly unless you come closer. But this is friendly distance. It is business. It's business culture. Boundaries are everything. You maintain professionalism, you stay at a friendly distance. You stay not too close. You certainly don't show too much about yourself. Compare that to somewhere like Germany or the Netherlands, where colleagues actually socialize together, where there is a bit of a blend between professional life and personal life. There is a line and you do not cross it. This emotional guardedness used to be written off as British reserve, part of the national culture. But then something shifted. Around 5 years ago, the #MeToo movement started holding workplaces accountable for harassment and inappropriate behavior, which is important. Sexual harassment is real and it is damaging, and it needed to be called out. But what happened next was revealing. 60% of male managers reported being uncomfortable with common work activities with female colleagues. Mentoring, working alone together in one place, even socializing after work. That's 32% jump from the year before. Let that sink in. In 1 year, a 32% jump in how comfortable a male worker feels in the office space doing activities with female workers. So workplaces didn't just become safer, they became colder. They became more cautious, because now warmth itself is getting flagged as a potential problem. And let me tell you something that happened to someone I know very closely. A very dear friend of mine in an office struggled for 8 months. He had suicidal thoughts, and bear with me, I'll tell you why. He was sitting in the middle of the office with colleagues, and one of these colleagues, a girl that he works with, in the middle of the office, said to him, "I don't think you can be as old as my dad." And he just spontaneously, affectionately said to her, "Well, if I was your dad, I would call you my princess." That's admirable. That's acknowledging her achievement. But it got reported to their manager as being too flirtatious. Now, flirting in the workplace is considered sexual harassment, and that's when it got really scary for my friend. 8 months, he's terrified of making a comment and it's taken the wrong way and ends up being flagged again to the manager. He's been walking to the office feeling shameful, living in shame. He described his feeling to me that he wanted to become very small. He wanted to disappear. He was avoiding eye contact with everyone. My friend was a big person. He was a very sociable character, but he crossed the line. He gendered someone. It's gendering. A female now is not a princess. Is a colleague. A cold colleague. That's where we got to. My friend wasn't fired, but he ended up leaving work. He could not live with people that he doesn't trust. Of course, he didn't know who flagged him, and his manager asked him to keep quiet about it, just work on his attitude, and it has been very confusing for him. My friend was not forced out of his employment, but he couldn't function anymore with his colleagues, who he really admired one day. And here's the question that lands from that. If warmth at work gets you flagged, if casual connection in a jokey way gets you reported, if showing genuine care for a colleague is now something to be careful about, where does that leave us? Not to mention the effect of that on the dating scene. We have a mating crisis, and people spend most of their awakening life at work. 8 hours awake, fully concentrated at work. We keep flagging people because they made a comment here or there. We're creating a generation that is so sensitive. I'm not saying male employees will walk around harassing female employees, but if we are stopping people of making comments, endearment comments, admiring comments, even if it's flirting, and then males are not allowed to catcall women in the street anymore, and males cannot whistle to women anymore, and if a male goes to the nightclub, tries to interact with a female, she can get the security for him, get him chucked out. And if a male approaches a female in the street, tries to talk to her and she doesn't like him, she can film him and put him on social media, frame him as creep. Where are people supposed to meet? Because let me tell you something, the dating apps are the worst places to connect people, to connect potential mating partners. They are the worst. I think we are creating an uber sensitive society, and it started to backfire. Look at the birth rate. Look at the loneliness crisis. Anyway, sorry, I digress. We've created workplaces where people go to work, sit down, do their job in silence and go home. Maybe do the odd small talk. What are you gonna do this evening? Are you going to the gym tonight? Any plans for the weekend? Where are you going for the next holiday? What are you having for dinner? Small talks are okay, but imagine if you are lonely and you are sitting in the office having to hear what people have got planned with their partners. Imagine if you don't have enough money in this economy, in this cost of living crisis, and you can't go for holidays, yet you can still hear people who are on a higher salary, or people who are more fortunate than you for any reason. Maybe they have paid their mortgage early through inheritance, and then when it comes to your plans, you don't have plans. Today is like yesterday, and this weekend is like last weekend, and your next annual leave is going to be at home like the last annual leave. Let me tell you something. I think open plan offices have become the worst soundproof isolating pods. And the fear of being misunderstood is slowly replacing the willingness to be warm, to be real, to show your own self, to show a bit of a texture, to show your authentic nature. So you spend 8 hours a day, 5 days a week in the company of people who you really don't know, in an environment designed to minimize human connection, operating under an unwritten rule that says emotional distance is the safest distance. And then you wonder why you feel lonely. This is another quiet engine behind becoming an emotional immigrant. We've talked about this concept in a previous video, which is someone has immigrated from society to his solitude. Someone who socially distances themselves and stopped being social and retreats to their solitude. Someone emotionally immigrates from society to his inner self. It's not that British people are unfriendly. No, quite the opposite actually. British people are not cold by nature, and if you've watched my other videos you will know that I do like British people and I do like this culture, and I consider Britain to be my home. The problem is the system. We have built a system that punishes warmth. When I first arrived to England 26 years ago, things were very different. British people were reserved. They always have been, and they will always be. But things have changed dramatically. We created a system that masks cold with professionalism, that mistakes emotional distance for emotional safety, and we wonder why nobody feels connected anymore. So here is the question I want to leave you with. If you spend more waking hours at work than anywhere else, and work is the one place that is designed to keep you emotionally distanced from everyone else around you, where exactly are you actually supposed to belong? Let me know in the comments what you think. Have you ever felt like that at work? Thank you for watching. See you next video.